Hi there, I'm the Utopian Trainer. This is a review of Unorthodox on Netflix, and I'm going to be saying what this has got to do with utopia. The series Unorthodox is about a young woman called Esther who is living in a Hasidic community in New York, which is ultra-Orthodox, ultra-conservative, and she leaves it to go to Berlin to start up a new life there. However, not quite so simple. And that's the premise of the entire series, which is 4 episodes. Now, I am told by some Jewish contacts of mine that they consider it to be an accurate portrayal of ultra-Orthodox communities. And within Jewish communities, there is, of course, strong criticism of ultra-Orthodoxism. And it's important to say that. And that in terms of people wanting to leave the community, this is apparently a fairly accurate portrayal of someone wanting to leave such a close-knit, ultra-Orthodox community. So I'm not going to go into the whole religious element of it. I think this is being dealt with very well elsewhere. I just want to address this from a utopian point of view. First of all, while the elements in New York may be realistic, the elements in Berlin were not realistic, because it is kind of showing this kind of like vision of Berlin, which isn't really true, of being ultra open, of being ultra cosmopolitan, where people are just like being accepted. This is a myth of Berlin. There's some truth in it. There's also not a lot of truth in Berlin in this. I know I've lived in Berlin, and I'm still working there. There's elements which are one of the main elements that is for me is which is unrealistic is the issue of class, whereby you're having this girl who is. I say she's a girl because she's not really grown up emotionally yet, although she's in the process of doing that. And the process is like a bit of a coming of age story, you can say, towards turning from a girl into a young woman. And she's like uneducated. It's not said in the program what employment her family had, and then she comes into Berlin and is straight away accepted by middle-class society. Like, there's no such thing as classism. This is not my experience of Berlin. I myself, a very different context, but I myself was singing in a choir for a bit, where everyone else was middle-class and German. And, of course, there was a degree of like politeness, niceness coming away, but there was also a bit of ooh. And I was only in the choir for a few months, needed a bit of time to get in, but in this story, she's like in there straight away. This is not realistic. This is not what it's like to be an educated person, to be from a lower class, and then start dealing with middle class people who have established. Yeah, this is not a realistic portrayal of what class is about. And the reason why this is not a realistic portrayal of what class is about is because there's a lot of attention being played now to like ethnicity or to gender or to sexual orientation. And all of this is good, but class is being left out by doing this. And therefore, people are losing the skills, have lost the skills in order to interpret this, in order not to see how class is portrayed in Unorthodox. And for utopia, we can't produce a better world without dealing with the issue of class. Simply isn't possible. So in terms of the religiosity of this, I'm not going to go into this because this isn't my thing. But what I'm going to deal with is thinking, what does this mean for utopia? Well, what it means is, what it really shows really well, I mean, I enjoyed it, despite my criticisms of it, I really enjoyed it, is that it demonstrates how our ability to seek a better life for us requires a lot of work in the brain to let go of the way in which we were socialized, and that the way we were socialized makes us make behaviors which are harmful to us. This is right. This is a case for not only people who have not been university educated or even had finished school. This is not just a matter of us who are born into the poverty class or working class. This is a matter for all of us, for middle class people, for people who think they don't belong to any class, and people who say that are always middle class, for the aristocracy. If you're watching the new Pope, which I'm watching at the moment, this also shows that there is a liberation which is needed for all of us. But this really shows that we're limiting ourselves, and that we need to be able to break out of this, to look for something else, like what Esther does. She just goes to Berlin in the hope that something is better, takes a risky decision. And I find that people trying to, from a feeling of fear, that there can be a tendency to not make these risky decisions until something really becomes really clear. This can't go on. For her, it was her body's reaction to this. Until then, people are saying, no, we can't have this. This is impossible. This is unrealistic. This is utopian, being said in a negative sense. And then we into like a politics of fear, which is then being demonstrated behind the decisions for example, in the US, whereby it's looking like Joe Biden is going to be the nomination against. This is like a politics of fear. Instead of let's have Medicare for all, let's legalize marijuana, and all these people have been put into prison for long periods of time because they've been had marijuana, been dealing with it. Let's release them. Yeah? No, we can't be doing that. This is utopian. So this really shows that we have intellectual limits which really hinder us from going towards the kind of life that we need to be having. It shows us that these limits are very deep within us. So through my own background, I can say that from going from the point of being, okay, I am very unconfident, I am used to not there being enough money for me, this is something which then gets replicated through years, through decades, and it takes a lot of work for doing this. And what is then required is this kind of awareness, this isn't right, something needs to change, that won't happen with me, and then I have to then work to change myself in order to have a better life. And this is something which I'm still like going through now, but I'm not thinking, oh no, this is just for me, but this is the same for everyone. What is happening now politically is unsustainable for the planet, and it is having the political system of caution, of let's not try too much, because it's utopian. The political system of making things privatized for profit is having the effect that people are dying because the lack of investment in healthcare. The people working in healthcare are not being given the appropriate masks and everything to protect themselves from the virus, and therefore are dying all over the world. And there's not enough ventilators for people to give them the oxygen that they need to be having. The system that we have is not working. Neoliberalism isn't working. Capitalism isn't working. And maybe by saying these things, I can have the reaction with you that you have this, no, this can't be like that. We can't have something else. There is like no hope. This is because you, but also me, I'm just as much as anyone, I'm not any better, really, really browned in the structures of our mind, in terms of the way I was raised, in terms of the way that we experienced what is right and what is wrong, which had an effect on the emotional life that we have and the proteins and the release of hormones in certain situations. Our personalities have been formed by the capitalism that is producing the crisis of climate change. So in order for us to make utopia, we need to change our personalities. This doesn't mean we should stop liking ourselves. Yes, like ourselves, but we have to produce new behaviors and new voting patterns. And I'm not just saying this is only a psychological thing. Of course, this is not just a psychological thing. We need more than mindfulness. We need more than meditation, even though these things are useful, especially during this time of lockdown. But we need actually system change at the moment. We need these networks of solidarity that Esther found, unrealistically or not, in Berlin. This isn't going to happen just by individual change here. This is not an easy process to go through whatsoever, as Esther in the program showed. And that's it. So, on that note, it's gone over 10 minutes. I tried to keep this 10 minutes, right? So, I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, or even if you don't like it, click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell to receive further updates, and I'm going to wish you a nice day. Bye.